So hello everyone, this is Fantaduce here, and today I'm going to be doing part 1 of What If Naruto was Madara's grandson. So let's start the what if. For Hokage Minato, back away from the Jinchuriki, or your son dies at the rip age of 1 minute. This is the moment where Naruto was born. The masked intruder said to the blonde-haired Hokage while holding a kunai over a newborn baby. Said the baby had the same shade of blonde hair, like the fourth Hokage, his father. The little guy was sleeping peacefully, not knowing, not knowing what kind of dangerous situation he was in. Minato was a fairly tall, fair-skinned man who shared physical appearance with his son. Both of them had bright blue eyes and blonde hair. How did he break through the How did he break through the barrier? Who the hell is this guy? He thought without taking his eyes off the stranger who was holding his newborn son, Naruto, as a hostage. Ah! That, that was when he had a scream of his wife. He quickly turned and looked at his wife to make sure she was alright. Uzumaki Kushina, who was also happened to be the second Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox, who was barely holding the seal that had weakened because of childbirth. She had a slender but feminine build, fair skin, violet eyes, fairly fairy fairy red hair, a common trait among the members of the Uzumaki clan, with a strands that framed both sides of her face and a black tip that patterned her hair to the left, keeping it out of her eyes. The seal, the seal not done, Minato thought. He was worried the fox could break the seal holding him captive and escape from it. Ah, Kushina screamed again as the nine-tailed forced more chakra to escape from his prison. Kushina, Minato said as he worried for the safety of his wife and son. Backed away from the Jinjuriki. Or don't you care if your son dies? The mass the mass intruder asked again. But his words became more impassive as time passed. Hold it. Just calm down, Minato said, with a worried glance into his voice, as he held his left hand in a aplastic gesture. You should take your own advice, Minato. I'm perfectly calm, the masked man said, and he tossed baby Naruto up. Naruto! Kushina cried out in terror at the thought of her child being her. The masked man attacked with a kunai towards the baby's aerial form, but acting quickly, Minato disappeared and reappeared behind the masked man, holding his son in his hand. You lift up to the yellow flash, to the yellow flash. Name, Minato, the man said calmly. He was clearly impressed by Minato's speed. But what now? Minato looked down in horror as he found explosive tags on the blanket. Tags blast off. Naruto, Minato! Kushina screamed in horror. Minato flew out of the smoke and debris with an unharmed Naruto in his arms. His three-programmed kunai was sticking into the ground just a few meters away from him. He looked down at his son and said, with great relief after seeing him unharmed, "Thank God you're not her." Ow. He cried in pain. He looked down at his leg to see a splinter of wood in his leg. He gasped his as he took out as he took off after Kushina. He then said he forced me to use my flying thunder god technique to separate us. Gotta hurry. Throwing the splinter of wood that had stuck in his leg, he disappeared with his son and reappeared in his safe house that was somewhere on the outskirts of the Hidden Leaf village that he had utilized in case of an emergency. Meanwhile, with Kushina, the masked men have bound her to several large rocks by the seals that imprisoned the Nine Tails. She stood in the center of rocks and stared at the man before him while sweating and dripping down her face. From the exhaustion of giving birth. What are you after? She asked, panting tiredly. I came to rip the nine tails from your stomach and used it to crush the leaf. The masked man answered simply. What? Kushina exclaimed. Her panting had been becoming worse. Teleportation technique uses a special marking that lets him instantly move from one mark to another. The man said in a natural tone while looking at the seal on Kushina's stomach. I see he's incorporated into the design of your seal, so he would always be there to protect you. But I managed to get away from him, and the seal has been greatly weakened from the birth. He looked at her, His lone eyes turned red and their tomoe circling the pupil, Sharingan. Do you have any idea how long I waited for this moment? His tone of the last sentence caused Kushina's eyes to widen in shock. You'll be safe here, Minato laid the newborn son onto a small bed with rails surrounding the sides. You'll wait on your own for a little bit, Naruto. He covered his son with a blanket to keep him warm. I gotta go save your mom before it's too late. He looked at the sleeping face of the baby for the last time before flashing away. Back with Kushina, the masked man was inside of her seal where the nine-tailed fox tied to a large rock with chains and stakes piercing each of his tail. The man focused his lone Sharingan eyes at the fox as the beast tried to his best to nullify the effects of the Sharingan. However, in the end, he failed. His large splitted eyes changed into a pattern of three tomoe, which eventually faded back into the background. The nine-tailed roared, breaking all registration that held him to the massive rocks, and started to melt. Outside the seal, however, Kushina screamed as the violet red bubbles of chakra exploded from her body, feeling like she was being burned alive. Come forth, nine-tailed fox, the masked man shouted as he placed his hand to the seal, which a mighty ground-shaking roar of tremor the nine-tailed fox emerged from his host, reappearing in the real world once again after a century. We we head for the hidden leaf, as the masked stranger commanded before turning to walk away from there. Stop! Kushina breathed out tiredly while trying to stand on her feet. The men turned around to see Kushina survive the extraction of her tail beast. The Uzumaki clan really is something special. Even wrecking a tail beast out of your body didn't kill you right away, he said. He turned to his new pet once again. It's only fitting for the nine-tailed to kill his former Jinchuriki. The Nine-Tails lifted one of his large claws and slashed down with the intent to kill his former host as his large paw smashed down at the rock she was on. A flash of yellow preceded. The paw smashed the place, but Kushina disappeared before she could crush under it. As the dust settled, Minato was crouching on top of a large tree, holding his wife against himself. A small flash of hope, but it's too late, the masked man said, after watching the failed attempt of the demon fox. Minato, is Naruto okay? Kushina strategically breathed out. Her face was devoid of life that was extracted out of her with the beast. Bags had gathered under her eyes, in the mix that was with the sweating and weary look on her face. It made her look slightly older than the young, beautiful woman she was. Minato answered as he grinned, trying to put on his bravado face. Yes, he's fine. I hid him somewhere safe. Oh, thank God. Kushina breathed a sigh of relief before she looked at her husband. Minato, stop him. Stop the nine-tail, she warned, a slight tone of worry in her casual, cheerful voice. They're heading for the village. Minato looked at his wife for a second before teleporting. The man raised an eyebrow behind his mouth. Gone again, no matter. On to the leaf we go, he said with a faraway gaze into the distance. Minato appeared in the same room he had come before, but this time instead of Naruto, he had a tired cushion in his arm. Why, Kushina said. Never mind why, just stay with Naruto, Minato said as he set Kushina down on the bed next to the sleeping Naruto. Naruto, Kushina whispered as she hugged her son with a bright smile. Despite the situation, she wrapped an arm around him as he lay beneath the blanket. She pulled him close, and on the side of his head rested against her own. Minato, thank you. Good luck. She closed her eyes and slept peacefully beside her son. Minato clenched his fist in determination as he rose from his place, going over to the wall where a coat was hanging. He grabbed it and swung it around to wear. The trench coat had a crimson fire licking the bottom of with the kenshi for fourth Hokage vertically stitched on the back. I'll be back before you know it, he said to his wife. He flashed away to stop the masked man and the nine-tailed fox and save his village. The man who had attacked the fourth Hokage and his family extracted the nine tails from Kushina appeared just inside of the village while as he slammed his hand on the ground and said, Summoning Jutsu, he unleashed a monstrous beast inside of the territory of the Hidden Leaf. The fox roared while his tails smashed buildings, crushed mountains, true to his legends, causing massive debris to fly away in various directions. Some of the villagers who were in any intentional assault, looked up at the fox in un, pure, undeniable fear. Attack, Demon Fox. Third Hokage-sama. One of the leaf umbos appeared before the previous Hokage. Third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had dressed in the battle suit. It's the Nine Tails. The Nine Tails attacked the village out of nowhere. I know, I'll hold it back. Gather and protect civilians, Hiruzen said, while placing his battle-worn bracer on his right forearm. Yes, sir, the Ambu responded. He disappeared as quickly as he had arrived. The former Hokage gazed at the giant beast while thinking, did Kushina's seals fail? Where are all the safeguards we put into place? Really not enough? Minato appeared on the top of his head that curved into the Hokage mountain. Looking around from the top of the monument, he could clearly see the Nine Tails had been summoned in the center of the village. The fox immediately noticed Minato's presence and turned his attention towards the blonde Hokage. So you noticed me already, Minato said. He saw the fox had begun to immaculate his chakra to the mouth and condensing into a large and lethal ball of energy. Not on my watch. The nine-tailed fox fired a tail beast ball towards the fourth from his giant mouth. At the same time, Minato spread his hands with with one of his special kunais held out horizontally. An invisible barrier formed in front of him with a massive intern pattern seals suspending in midair. The wall absorbed the attack until there was nothing left. In the forest not far from him, the same barrier opened up and set off an explosion that rocked the village from the distance and decimated the forest that caught it in the blast. Below the Hokage monument, the leaf shinobi's watched the tail beast bolt vanish into some kind of barrier. It stopped the Nine Tails attack. That was some space-time barrier jutsu. A red-headed man with purple marking on his cheek said, "His his name is Narashigaku." Narashigaku, the head of the Nara clan, said, "It's Minato. Everyone move out." Hiruzen ordered. Back with Minato, he was preparing to teleport to Hiruzen's side. I have to tell him that there what happened. Suddenly, the same masked man who was responsible for everything rose up from the top of the fourth Hokage face on the mountain. Sensing the man behind him, Minato arched his whole body in a rotator motion and tried to slash his three-tomono kunai into the man's head. However, it just phased through the man's head, causing Minato's eyes to widen in shock. You will face me, the man said, grabbing Minato's wrist, the one that had gone through his head. And we're done. Suddenly, Minato's form started to become distorted and began to suck into what looked like some sort of vortex, and that had opened up from the man's eye hole. Before he could before he could be stuck inside completely, Minato flashed away. He teleported. Talk about fast, the man said, shocked at seeing someone had countered his jutsu. He narrowed his long eyes. Next time I'll wrap you the moment I lay my hands on you. Minato landed with a crush at a different section of the forest with one of his kunai stabbing into the ground beside him. He grunted while standing up. My attack slipped through him. But a moment later, he was solid in trying to suck me into another dimension or something. What was that move? He thought. A swirling vortex appeared in front of him. In that moment, the same masked man appeared, shocking the four Hokage. You won't escape me, he told Minato. Does he use a space-time jutsu too? Whatever he did, it must be how he moves. So far, after taking Kushina, Minato's mind began to race for possibility. He narrowed his eyes at his foe. He defected Ambu under the direction command of the third. Got past the most powerful top secret bearer we have, and must have known the seal would be weak while Kushina was giving birth. Then with the seal undo, he took the nine tails and marched straight into the leaf without so much as costing a deal with the bird. There's only one man I can think of that makes sense. He summoned to himself, deep in thought before looking at the man. Are you Uchiha Madara? He saw the man pull his hood back to reveal short spiky hair. No, you couldn't be here. He's long dead. Oh, I don't know about that, the masked man taunted. On second thought, it doesn't matter who you are, said Minato. But why have you attacked the leaf? Oh, you know. It's fun. It's all part of my plan, the masked man said. Summoning a long chain, he attached it both ends of his wrist to start the war to bring peace. Minato narrowed his eyes at the masked man farther. Whoever he is, he could control the Nine Tails, wheel space-time jutsu that exceeds both seconds and mind. Clearly, clearly his evil intentions, he thought. If I don't kill him now, he'll become a greater danger than the fox. He took his three-pointed kunai out. If I teleport back to the village, he'll follow me and things will get more chaotic. If he really is Madara, then I doubt he can summon the Nine Tails very long. I'll just have to leave the village in the third's hand. Finish him off here. There's no hope for any of you, the masked man declared, and he charged at Minato. Minato did the same, but the man became intentional again, allowing Minato to phase through him. The masked man solidified and spun around once again. Minato was behind him. He pulled the chain and wrapped Minato's arm around the chest with it. However, Minato chucked his kunai at the section of the forest and flashed away, letting the chain simply float in the air. The masked man's eyes widened slightly. Minato flashed beside his three-pointed kunai, looked back at the man. He makes his body intangible to negate any attack. Then he solidified to counter. Oh, my only shot is to try and trade hits with him, he thought. But attacking at this all is only a risk for him. If he keeps that, the Nine-Tails summon for sure. He won't want this fight to drag on. He spun around and charged again. If it comes down to speed, whoever strikes a split second earlier will win. As they both charged at each other, Minato threw one of his special kunais at the man, let it face through him, then got closer to each other. The kunai end was almost all the way out of the black man's head. The same man went to grab Minato's shoulder. Minato already formed a large blue spear, Rasengan. As the man was about to touch the floor, the kunai slipped all the way out of his head. The man smiled behind his mouth and said, "Gotcha!" In a split second, Minato vanished in a yellow flash, causing the man's eyes to widen. The blonde hair appeared behind the man and slammed the Rasengan down into the masked man's back before catching the kunai. The man screamed in the pain as he crushed into the ground. Damn it! He teleported to the kunai he just threw, he thought. That was a flying thunder god jutsu, too, Minato said proudly. While he looked down, his eyes narrowed. The Rasengan had exploded, literally destroying the ground, but the man had somehow teleported away. The masked man appeared on a stabbed rock nearby. His arms was fluidity being separated out of his body, and a white substance was dripping from his wound. But before he could do anything about it, the fourth Hokage appeared in front of him and stabbed him in the stomach with a kunai, making him to split blood in his hand. He must have he must have put a marking somewhere on my body, the masked man thought. Minato then placed his hand on the man's chest, where marking suddenly sprouted from the looking like marking fit for a seal. A contract seal, the masked man said, as he recognized the seal. Are you trying to pull the Nine Tails free from me? No, I already did, Minato said. He's no longer in your weapon. In the distance where the Nine-Tailed Fox was wreaking havoc, his eyes that held a Sharingan due to his mind being under control of it, reverted back to his red split eyes. However, being tricked in such a way caused his anger to grow more. The masked man jumped upward out of Minato's range. You deserve the title of the Hokage, managing to wound me and wrest the fox from my control in one move, he said, but someday will be mine again. The fox and this whole world will bow to my will. He began to wrap himself. Many doors are still left open to me. He vanished by swirling into a vortex. Something tells me Minato thought he wasn't lying. He gazed at the place previously accompanied by the masked man who would disappear, and Minato flashed into the village to see the Nine Tails preparing for another tail beast ball. Though he was glad that their Hokage managed to hold the thought, but he had no time to think about it. Biting his thumb and draw blood, he slammed down and said, "Summoning Jutsu." There was a large puff of smoke that soon revealed a large, dull, rusty red colored toad, Gamamoto, the chief toad of Mount Moyabuku, in all his glory, who was barely holding the nine tails. Minato stood on the top of the chief toad as he looked at the nine tails while thinking about the masked man's words. He clenched his eyes and shouted, "Sorry, Kushina." Looking down at the large toad, he said, "Hold the fox for a minute." "Look, I may be big, but I'm not a miracle worker," Gamamoto said, while trying to hold the nine tails down. "I need enough chakra to take him and that blast out of here," Minato shouted. When he saw the nine tails prepare for another tail beast bow, he quickly made some of the seals, and a moment later he vanished with the nine tails, leaving the toad boss alone, who later disappeared in a puff of smoke. The third Hokage had been watching everything. Minato, did he teleport himself in the nine tail? At the part of the far which was a good distance away from him, exploded in a dome of light, most likely from the nine tail. Out there, the place where the nine tails had been teleported, Minato appeared with his wife Kushina and his newborn son on his arm. God, God put a barrier, he said, without taking his eyes from the nine tails. He placed Kushina down on the ground. My chakra is almost drained, Kushina said, but she'll use her last bit of chakra to summon her chakra chains. A several gold chains shot from her back and wrapped around the fox's tails and pulled and body, pulling him to the ground. Kushina Minato shouted worriedly that the woke up baby Naruto from his peaceful sleep. He began to cry. Sorry, Naruto. I didn't mean to wake you up, Kushina said, b- blood dripping from her mouth as she gave her son a smile. Minato couldn't believe such a happy day of his life had turned out to be such a nightmare. Kushina, I'll drag the nine tails back and die with it inside me. That'll prevent it from coming back for a while. It's the only way to for both of you. With the little bit of chakra I have left, Kushina said. She looked at her husband and gave him a smile. Thank you for everything. Kushina, you made me happen. You made me into the fourth Hokage's tick, Minato said, tears sliding down on his cheeks. You made me the boy's father, and I. Don't look sad, Minato. I'm happy, Kushina said, as she gave her husband a weak smile. Happy that you love me, and she turned her head, softening her eyes at the sight of her crying son. There was a small smile on her lips, happy that it's our son's birthday, like if I tried to imagine surviving and three of us living together. I can't think of anything beyond. I'll be happy. Tears continued to streak down Minato's face as he looked at his wife, who was ready to sacrifice herself to both of them. Kushina looked at her son again, and her heart clenched just thinking about leaving her child. If I had anything to regret, it wouldn't be that I won't see Naruto grow up. As Minato looked down at his hair, shading his eyes, Kushina, you didn't need to take the fox down with you, he said. We can use her last bit of chakra to see Naruto one more time. Kushina replied, huh? Confused as she tilted her head so she could look at her husband. I'll seal your last bit of chakra in Naruto with the 8 trigram seal, Minato explained. Then I'll lead the nine tails away with the seal. Only a non-Jinchuriki Lemmy can use it. The dead demon seal. Kushina's eyes went wide as she realized what her husband wanted to do. But the user will, I'll only be able to seal half of the power. His jutsu is too great. It's physically and are completely impossible to seal it all, Minato told his wife. I can't let the ninth tail be revived without a Jinchuriki. The balance of the tail beast's power would be destroyed with the dead demon seal. I can permanently seal half of the power along with me and remaining half. He paused and looked down at his son as he remembered something his ancestor Jiraiya the Sonin said as he told him about the destined child. I'll see a remaining half inside of Naruto with the 8 triangles. Kushina looked at him as he had gone mad. She really wanted to yell at him for suggesting something like that, but Minato didn't give her a chance to protest. I know what you want to say, but Jiraiya Sensei spoke of the world undergoing a revolution, and with it, a great distant disaster. He continued to calm his wife down. Tonight I have the two things. The first, the masked man, the one who attacked you. He is he is creating disaster. He looked down at the sleeping face of his son, and Naruto will be the one to stop him. The Jinchuriki who will blaze the trail of our future. I just know it. He carefully put the baby Naruto to the ground. At that time, with his trusty companion Enma in his staff form, Harusen landed in a crouch just outside the barrier that Minato and Kushina had made to protect the village from the fox's destruction capability. But Minato, Kushina said, as she tried to protest his crazy idea. Have a little faith, he is her son after all, Minato told Kushina. Feeling confident in his decision, he flashed through the nine hand seals to mold his chakra to call the Shinigami, the spectral spirit aider, aka Shinigami. However, behind Minato, the Shinigami was much larger than any average human. He possessed long, shaggy white hair, which wrapped around Minato's soul, from which two red horns protect, and a dark grayish blue color skin. It was draped in large white garments and carried a set of prayer bands. It had a tonto in his mouth. After I finish the death demon seal, I'll place your remaining chakra into Naruto as well. Minato explained. You'll meet a grown-up Naruto sooner than you think. The time will come when he attempts to take control of the fox power, and I want you to be there to help him, Kushina said. Our son? Minato looked down at the sleeping face of his son. That's why I don't want to bear such a heavy burden all on his own, he said. But why did that demon seal? Kushina shouted as Minato for a stupid idea. There's no reason for you to die, just so I can meet him for a few minutes when he's older. I wanted you to be there for him. I wanted you to raise him. Why? Why are you sacrificing Naruto? Just prefer just to preserve the balance of Tailbeat, to save the village and to save the country. Why are you sacrificing yourself to me? Turning your back on your country, on the village, is just as bad as abandoning a child. You should understand. You saw your own country fall apart. You know the pain of growing up without a home of your own. You know we are a family of shinobis, Minato said. Besides, even if I live, I could never substitute for you. Kushina looked at her husband questioningly. He knelt down in front of her. There are things Naruto needs to be told, things I can never say myself. That's a mother's job and I need you to carry it out. Even if you only have the briefest moment to do so, he continued, this isn't just for you, this is for Naruto. He picked up his baby once more and settled right in front of his wife, dying to make a better life for his son. That's the stuff we let the father handle. Understanding slowly began to manifest on Kushina's face, but she still tried tried to seal her eyes in a last ditching effort to go with her plan to save her son from the life of a Jinchuriki, a life of neglected and hatred. She was one of the very few Jinchuriki who had a normal life compared to others. From his place, Hiruzen was finally able to get a glance at something in fear. He gasped, those markings, it can't be. The death demon seal. Two of the leads Johnnies jumped down beside the previous military commander. What's happening third? One Johnny said, you're too late. They put up a barrier around the Nine Tails. Hiruzen said. He punched on the barrier, but nothing happened. It was too strong to penetrate. Even for an experienced Jonin like him, whatever they're doing it alone. Devoured the spirit, shoved its hand through Minato's stomach, and grabbed the monstrosity that towards him. The fox, who was unable to speak due to Kushina's chakra bending, mentally cursed when he felt his power being ripped into two. Seal, Minato said. The nine-tailed fox roared as he felt half of his life force forcibly pulled out of his body, with no way to prevent it, as the nine-tailed yin chakra sealed into Minato, causing the fox shrunk in his size. My body's gone numb. What a heavy chakra, Minato thought. Grasping it's the death demon seal. I can't believe he actually used it. Hiruzen breathed in shock. It was the most powerful self-sacrificial jutsu for a reason, but to see such powerful sealing jutsu used against a tail beast was breathtakingly scary. While the fox remains, he didn't see all of it. One Jonin said, but it shrunk. Suddenly, a Kanma's Anbu landed beside their Hokage Sama. There's an emergency in the village, he said, kneeling down in front of the former Hokage to show him proper respect. What's more important than this, Hiruzen said, pointing at the demon form. We spotted Orochimaru in the village, the Anbu informed. Wow, Hiruzen shouted, giving his full attention to the Anbu. Orochimaru was his student and his greatest mistake and shame. Where? Near the Hokage Tower. The third Hokage flenched his fist as he first hesitated to leave Minato to deal with the Nine Tails alone. But Orochimaru was an S-rank criminal, and seeing someone like him in a time like this in the village wasn't a good thing. Orochimaru was responsible, so he decided to handle it himself. Stay here, he ordered his shinobis before heading towards the leaf to deal with the second problem. Kat Ambu turned to look at the both Johnnies when the third Hokage had disappeared. Inform him, he said in a deeper, much different. All three leaf ninjas looked at each other and nodded. They changed into identical copies of one person. The person was completely white with short green hair, an undeveloped right side, and lone yellow eyes, and the only hand he had was seemed to be cracked over their body. A zigzag pattern running down his midsection. They gave each other a nod before changing back to their previous form. Now for the 8 trigram seal, Minato said, slamming his hand on the ground. In a puff, a ritual-style altar appeared, a basket and 8 candles around. I'm going to seal the Nine Tails inside of Naruto. The ceremonial throne, he plans to reseal me inside of that child. The nine-tailed fox saw, watching the fourth Hokage placing the blonde child on it. Kushina's chakra had shrunken and began to fade as she started to wobble and deep coughing racked through her body. She desperately to breathe that caused her control over the chakra chains to lessen. It gave the Nine-Tail enough time to try a counterattack. Kushina, stay with me, Minato shouted as he quickly turned from the throne. He just had it laid on Naruto. The Naruto raised his right forearm paw in, in a profession to slam it down on the blonde baby, crushing the only thing between his freedom as he didn't want to be sealed again in another vessel. However, his efforts turned into vain as both of the parents threw themselves in the line of his claw and used their own bodies to stop the claw from reaching their son, fatally wounding themselves in the process. The blood soaked the blood-soaked claw stepped in a mere 3 inches above the children's chin, chin. The dying parents breathed to relief, using their strength and chakra. Kushina tightened her chakra claws around the nine tails. If it's a father's job, can do this, Minato said, trying to ease some stress. Kushina picked up on it, complete. The mother should be even better, right? Shit. Shit, isn't he going to be happy? The cat mask almost said. When who was watching everything with his subordinates. Damn humans, the Nine-Tails cursed. Ignoring the fox fish and a glance behind her husband. Instagrass, you win first argument you ever won. I guess you're really serious. Minato chuckled. Thank you, Gosha. Working as quickly as he could, he quickly summoned a black and orange toad with dark marking around his eyes. The toad looked at him and freaked out. Ah, the nine-tailed fox. Grab it. And the fourth, what the hell happened to you? Galmatora, I'm entrusting you with the key to the seal. Hurry to Jiraiya Sensei's store with him. Minato said. He plunged his head into the toad gun, which caused a scroll to wrap around him. Got it, Galmatora proclaimed, as the seal key rolled up in the scroll. Goodbye. His mark making his son the new Jinchuriki. He's definitely not going to be happy about this. One fake Johnny said. Another, his partner asked, but where is he? Where is he? He's late, the fake Ambu answered. His eyes weren't leaving the nine tails. That that doesn't mean Minato, watching the toad disappear to carry out his mission. It's time for me to go, Kushina. I'm going to perform the 8 triangle seal and try to leave a little of my chakra on Naruto too. We don't have much time. If you have anything left to say to Naruto Kushina bowed her head and didn't understand. Naruto, don't be a fussy eater. Eat a lot and grow up to be a big boy. Take your baths every day and go to bed early and sleep well. She took a pause and looked at her son. Make friends. It doesn't matter how many. Just make sure they're real friends. People you trust, even a few is enough. And study all your jutsus. I was never good at it. Maybe you will be. Everyone has things they're good at and things they're not. Don't feel bad if you can't do it all. Make sure you listen to your teachers at the academy. And remember to avoid three voices of shinobis. Don't borrow money if you can help it. Save what you earn from missions. No drinking until you're 20. And don't overdo it or you'll ruin your body. And as for women, well, I'm a woman, so I don't know what to say. But there are only men and women in this world. You'll want a girlfriend someday. Just try not to pick a weird one. Try to find someone like your mother. And the fourth warning, watch out for Jiraiya Sensei. Minato smiled after hearing Kushina's fourth warning. Kushina paused to smile, blood pouring out of her mouth as it rose from the pit of her stomach with tears streaming down her face. She spoke again. Naruto, you're going to experience a lot of pain and suffering. Remember who you are. Find a goal, a dream. Don't stop trying until it comes true. There's much more I want to say to teach you about. I want to stay with you. I love you. Minato signed, but kept his mouth shut. However, Kushina realized, I'm sorry, Minato. I took all our time, she said. It's okay, Minato replied before looking at her. Naruto, this is your dad. Listen to your Listen to your motor mouth mother. You both are fools, an unfair voice said. Minato and Kushina have their head jerked up slowly, looking at the intruder, only to see the voice was grasping far too calm for it to belong. But I'm impressed you both still have some strength to live for a few more minutes, even after all that happens to you. But then again, bloods of the greatest shinobis are running through your veins. The voice continued, coming closer and closer. Minato and Kushina scratched into a black-coated figure, caught their attention. His face was hidden behind a large black coat. As the figure walked forward with a common slack coat on it, as his coat just enough for them to see a pair of black shinobi sandals. The man knelt down in front of the blonde-haired baby, such a curious child, just like your parents. You have also You also have the blood of the greatest shinobi in your veins, but also the man's hand made contact with Naruto's small hand. That caused Minato and Kushina to gasp in shock as their sun crystallized morphed into a blood and red pupil com- with a single comma-shaped mark on each eye. The bloodline of the Uchiha clan. There's still so much you can do, my little one. Both Minato and Kushina eyes wide and sharp. Only Minato was able to speak. How the clothed man didn't even glance at Minato. He stood up and looked at Kushina, slightly softened and glazed. You look just like your mother, he said. My mother, Kushina said, coming out. She looked at the man. She coughed as the blood poured out of her mouth. How does he know my mother? How does Naruto have the Sharingan? Now, Minato asked. He then glanced back at the Nine Tails, who was glaring angrily at the clothing man, struggling to free himself from Kushina's chain. We don't have much time. I need to seal the Nine-Tailed Fox into Naruto as soon as possible. The man ignored Minato again. He was still looking at Kushina. You're in Uchiha blood that you inherited from your father, but was sealed by your paranoid mother, he said, shocking both husband and wife. You still managed to pass on your Uchiha blood, my son, my blood to your son. Both newly made parents became speechless after hearing the man's word. A few moments later, Kushina's mind finally persuaded her. You are my father, she said. Yes, the man nodded, reaching up. He pulled the hoodie down, revealing his face for the first time. The man was old, with his thin and white hair reaching waist length and shoulder length bangs framing the sides of his face, covering most of his right eye, but both Minato and Kushina could clearly see that he was missing his right eye. They didn't know who he is, as they didn't recognize his face, but they could feel his power. As for their answer, it came from an unexpected source. Madara, the nine-tailed fox, roared angrily, trying to break from Kushina's chains. I'll kill you. Shut your mouth, Nine-Tails, Madara said, his voice calm down. You're nothing but a temporary existence of condolence energy, an energy that once was a single ultimate form. Minato and Kushina didn't say any words. The man who was standing in front of them was Madara Uchiha, the real Madara Uchiha, the man who appeared more than once in the history and almost never in a good way. Madara, as Uchiha Madara, Kushina whispered. Her energy was nearly at the end, and she gazed upon the startled visual of Madara, one of the founders of the Uchiha, former head of the Uchiha clan, the man who had nearly killed the first Hokage. Are you really my father? She asked. She had always wondered who her father was. The answer was now in front of her. Yes, Madara answered. Minato's heart line. His his minutes have turned into seconds as he realized what that meant. If you are the real Madara, then who was that masked man? He was a fake, Madara scoffed. Minato coughed blood. I don't know how much time left. He thought he was ready to seal the Nine Tails into Naruto. Do you really think you're making a good choice? Madara asked Minato, catching the Hokage off guard. What? I mean, do you really think that old monkey is capable to to protect your child from Jinchuriki's harsh life and will give him a normal life? I'm sure Sarutobi will do anything to protect Naruto. Also, the Leaf people are so friendly, they'll treat Naruto like a hero. Naruto said proudly as he believed in the people. Then you are a fool, as I expected from the descendant of that man. Mother scoffed. You're very naive. People aren't always as compassionate and understanding as we like them to be. A Jinchuriki's life is filled with pain and loneliness. They'll never favor love or welcome to in their homes, village. But I'll not stop you. Do what you want. Do what you think is right. It's already too late to change your mind. He looked at his daughter's husband and folded his arms. It's easy to transport a Jinchuriki than a tail beast. I'll extract the nine tails from my grandson later. Minato's first hesitated as he was surprised his mother a sudden change in behavior, but he didn't have much time left, so he brushed it aside. A trigram seal, he said, sealing the remaining half of nine tails into Naruto as the A trigram sealing marking appeared on Naruto's belly as a payment. Shinigami ate Minato's soul alongside with the nine tails yin half, which was sealed inside of Minato as Minato's lifeless body fell to the ground. The spectral speeder The spirit eater glanced at the blonde baby. His hand touched the baby's forehead before vanishing from there. Minato Kushina, taking her husband's hand, she shed tears for him. Her chakra chains disappeared alongside with her, with the berry which to the ground. Then she and Minato had made this to stop. Madara picked up his grandson and walked towards his daughter. He knelt down in front of her. Your husband is dead, but I can still save you. No, it's too late for me, Kushina said. She coughed violently, spitting out blood from the sun. She looked at Madara. Now I know my son isn't alone, so I can die peacefully. Take care of him and tell him I still love him. Madara stared at her face in shock for a minute before nodding. I will, he said. Krishna smiled for the last time before closing her eyes. She died with a smile on her face. Madara stood up and looked at his grandson. So where is that old monkey? He asked without taking his eyes from his grandson. A plant-like entity emerged behind him. He had short green hair, yellow eyes, and his body had two different color halves. His left side was completely white, while the right side was entirely black. He had two large venom fly traps like extensions around him. His name was Setsu. He's still researching signs of Orochimaru, Black Setsu said. Good, Mother said. It's all preparation done. It's already done, White Setsu said. Mother turned around and walked to a particular place, seal my daughter and her husband's real bodies and replace them with fake ones, he ordered. Hi, Black Setsu said. And this is where I'm going to be leaving it off. Thank you guys for watching. This is Phantom News here, and goodbye.